Hi, Wes Lee, and welcome to a new year of the Mesonet Weather Report. Last year was not the most favorable for Oklahoma weather conditions. We spent most of the year in drought with rainfall hard to come by. This graph shows monthly statewide average rainfall received by the blue bar and the 30-year average shown by the orange bar. The arrows along the top show us that 10 out of the 12 months we received below average rainfall. The only really wet period was the end of May, where 2 weeks of rainfall brought most of the state back up to normal for the calendar year. Then the summer drought intensified with a vengeance. This is easily seen on this graph showing rain received by the dark line and the long-term average in blue from June to November. The state fell on average about 8 inches behind normal during this time. The year was also very warm, especially during the summer. This graph is displaying average temperatures. After starting with 3 cooler than normal months shown by the blue arrows, we spent the next 7 months above normal shown by the red arrows. Focusing on the summer average highs and lows, we see the lows were near normal, but the highs were very warm, about 4 degrees above normal. Now here's Gary focusing on the ever-continuing drought.
Thanks, Wes, and good morning, everyone. Well, we're starting out the year with an unfortunate drought picture in the state. It does look like those long-term deficits are continuing to drive that drought depiction on the drought monitor. So let's get right to the new map and see where we're at. Well, really, it's the same basic picture we've had for a while now, and that's 90% of the state still in drought and about 56% of the state in extreme to exceptional drought. Those are the 2 worst categories. That shows that those long-term deficits that we've talked about are indeed still driving the latest drought picture. We do have just a small percent of the state out of any sort of dry conditions, and that's over in far east central Oklahoma. It's only 2% of the state, but let's hope that's a good start. Going to show you the 2022 rainfall totals from the Oklahoma Mesonet. Notice out there in far western Oklahoma in the central panhandle, the Mesonet site at Goodwell recorded 6.48 inches of rainfall, which is the new all-time lowest annual rainfall total for the Oklahoma for any place, any year in the state. That tops rain years 6.53 inches from 1956. So certainly not a good situation out in the Panhandle region in far northwestern Oklahoma. The rainfall totals do get a little bit better as we get farther to the east, but even in those areas, most of that is still at a pretty good deficit. That shows up really well on the departure from normal rainfall map for the 2022 period. Again, much of the state 6 to 12 inches below normal, a little bit lower in some areas, a little bit higher in other areas. And again, the only area of surplus over in far east central Oklahoma where we are out of drought, and they had a surplus of about 6 to 10 inches. Taking a look at the U.S. monthly drought outlook for January 2023, we do see that the Climate Prediction Center expects drought to persist across the entire state, at least where it exists at this time, but at least it doesn't show any development of new drought over in east central or southeast Oklahoma, where either abnormally dry conditions or no conditions exist on the latest drought monitor map. So we had a pretty good December over much of the state with some moisture, but those long-term deficits continue to dominate. So we do need some really good rainfall totals or snowfall totals to bolster that December precipitation amount to hopefully get a little bit more of this drought out of here. That's it for this time. We'll see you next time on the Mesonet Weather Report.